Welcome to Kama Kast, where we explore all things consciousness, culture, and connection. Today we're interviewing Robin Sargan, a Los Angeles-based acro yoga instructor and Thai massage teacher. His work is rooted in love and trust and the radical idea that the human body is an instrument, not of just performance, but of connection. Well, welcome, Robin. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm going to first start off with asking you to just take us back. So you're someone who's been to a lot of festivals. You're an acro yoga specialist. Is that what I would call you?
Enthusiast.
Enthusiast.
I guess, yeah.
Okay. So before all of that, when you were your younger self, like what was your relationship to your body and how did you get to be where you're at now?
Oh, man. Yeah, I feel like I wish I had done more gymnastics and acrobatics when I was a kid. I think my practice would be way more advanced. But, I just was a kid that loved to play. I loved to be outside. It would take forever for me to, get pulled to the dinner table or to come in for lunch. And as soon as I sit down for food, I just, fuel up and run around again. Yeah, so I just really like playing. I feel like that's something that's maybe lost in this generation, since we're the last generation that really got to play outside.
Yeah.
Not to age myself or anything.
But, tell me you're a
millennial
without
telling me you're a millennial. But yeah, just playing outside. I did a lot of sports. Track and field, pole vaulting was my specialty.
Okay, so being in your body was something that was kind of inherent for you since childhood?
Yeah, it's something that I think until now I still crave, It's like if I haven't done anything active either within the day or even in a couple of days, I just kind of start to feel a little edgy, It's like when I come into work and you're just oh.
We're coworkers, and I can definitely tell when he hasn't moved his body.
Any kind of movement I find just interesting, Yeah,
okay.
So I try to do all sorts of things, but yeah, acro is probably one of the ones that's kind of stuck with me for a long time.
Okay. And so was there a particular teacher or moment or something that drew you, because you do Thai massage and acro yoga, right? So what was it? Was there a specific moment? Was there a specific teacher that made you want to dedicate your life or your time to this?
Yeah, actually, going back to my first time seeing acro yoga, I had just done a 5K in Santa Monica, and we were walking towards the pier because we were let's just kind of walk to the pier, and then there were there's this gathering of people doing acrobatics on the grass there, and I was just what is this? And until this day that jam it's the oldest running acro jam I think in the world. I think they used to do acrobatics like that since the 70s.
Wow. I used to go to jam. Jam is cool.
Yeah, so Sunday jams, it's always there. Very, very welcoming, also very intimidating since they're doing some really high level skills. But the very next week, me and the partner I had run the 5K with, we basically did a private class and found a local class that was teaching acros. I think it was at the Raven, which was way back in the day. I've been doing acro for 16 years now, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, so 16 years I've been doing acro. I've been teaching for 5. But yeah, the way I was taught acro was through the School of Acro Yoga International. So it was always an acro yoga class followed by Thai massage, or it closed with Thai massage. So it really kind of melded those two things into one for me until I kind of did more of a deep dive into Thai massage later on.
Very cool.
Practice, yeah.
I definitely want to go back to acro yoga and Thai massage, but I definitely want to touch a little bit on festivals and festival culture, because you had mentioned how you kind of do these types of modalities at festivals, right? And so I know with festivals, there's a huge reputation that it has, and you know, as we all probably know, it's when people hear festival culture, they think costumes and bass drops but you found something there, right? So what was that? Like someone who maybe has never been to a festival and maybe is initiated and doesn't understand what festivals are all about, like what actually have you gotten from the space and what do you think that people could get from this space?
Yeah, I think with festivals, because of the inherent um, presence of substances and things like that, I feel like people are a little bit more empathetic, not just because of if they're on substances. It's more so like you're putting yourself in that other person's shoes, like, oh, this person might be going through something a little bit more than you normally would in like the real world, and because of that empathy, you're you're more empathetic, and two, you just kind of feel like you're allowed to just be
Yeah.
whatever you want to.
I mean, I guess when you think about it, when you've paid so much money to be in a space, usually, there's literally nothing else for you to do except for to be in the space and be in a way.
Yeah, I think it's not just like the paying or anything like that. It's you're just like with a bunch of like-minded people who are enjoying the exact thing you're enjoying, and I think what it really is, what it really boils down to is you're also just like on foot walking everywhere. Like you're going back to the roots of community where you're just like walking around from one destination to the other, not having to drive anywhere, and really you're able to like be in other people's presence and not like in a car and like
Yeah, that's true.
zooming past people. You're just like in community, just having a good time, listening to good music. Yeah. Aside from like the bass and all of that, I really like to. I feel like it's a space that I can be open to, like ask people, like, oh, do you wanna fly? Is like one of the nice questions I like to ask, and the people who are like acro curious are like, what do you mean? It's like, yeah, it's like I'm gonna put you on my feet and
We're gonna go.
And then it's like the people who are down for it are down for it. The people who aren't, and that's how you kind of find your people as well.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you when you're at a festival, right, and you're doing things like acro yoga, people are usually, like what you had said, maybe high or overstimulated or maybe even sleep deprived, which is usually like the opposite of a therapeutic setting, right? So
I
what would
want to
you
disagree, actually.
Okay.
When you're sleep deprived and like low motor function, that's when you really need to be embodied. You really need to kind of like go back into your senses, and sometimes you just kind of need a little backtraction. One of my favorite things to do at a festival is, going past the dance floor, the people who are just kind of sitting on the ground or whatever, I'll just like, say hi and just ask them if they want some leg traction. It's like one of my favorite things to do. It's like I'll go up to a random group of people and be like, hi, do any of you want some leg traction? And sometimes they'll be like, no, thank you. Or sometimes they'll be like, yeah. And then I'll just kind of like give them a little bit of leg traction. And then
For those who don't know what leg traction is, like how would you describe that?
Oh, it's essentially the person's going to be lying down on their back. I'd pick up their heels and just kind of slowly pull on their legs until their entire spine basically just kind of like releases.
Oh, that sounds so nice.
Right? Especially after like dancing for like
Yeah.
hours on end. Yeah, so it's just nice. It's just like a nice gift to share, and it's a good way to like connect with folks. And sometimes what I'll see is like, especially if I've taught at at a festival, I'll see people doing that exact thing, after I had taught the workshop, and I just like I see you.
And what a gift to be able to give people so that they can do it with each other, and because it's so nice.
It's like we're so deprived of like touch sometimes, so since we're all in our like little bubbles, it's good to kind of just like break that touch barrier and just not make it weird.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
speaking on that, like about our lack of touch, I feel like right now we're in a very touch-starved culture. And, you know, this is in the data. It's like the loneliness epidemic. We've seen what this happened in COVID. And you work in an area where like touch is the medium. And so what are the stakes if we don't address this, if we don't put more touch and more of this into our day-to-day lives?
Yeah, I think going back to COVID, I only started going to festivals after COVID. My first festival was in like 2021. It was like a small 250 person festival, and it just kind of like opened up my eyes to be like, wow, people like live like this. This is cool. This is fun. And yeah, I think they're talking about data. Was it? I think there's a study saying like you need like 20 hugs a day or 12 hugs a day.
What?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah, just to kind of like
I need more hugs.
to be in baseline, you know, and you know, how often do we get hugs? How often do we get hugs that aren't from like a lover?
Right.
You know, so I mean, we then associate touch with just that person, and you know, that person can't be like everywhere with us, you know.
Yeah, that's something that I really struggle with, like as a woman. Like for some reason, platonic touch always was hard for me to understand or grasp, because every time anyone touched me, I associated it with like sexuality or something like that, when it's like, no, touch can actually be really loving and platonic, and it doesn't have to be that. Is there anything you want to say on like platonic touch?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. What is platonic? Platonic touch is essentially, yeah, like non-sensual touch. You know, Thai massage is essentially that. You know, it might seem, you know, very erotic to folks, but you know, it's coming from a place of unconditional loving kindness. That's the practice. It's called metta. You know, you're just practicing the gift, being present with not just yourself but with the body in front of you. You know, and going back to what you were saying, where you know, as a woman, you feel like you have a hard time with platonic touch. Even as guys, you know, guys, the only touch you get from your homies are like fist bumps and like more aggressive kind of touch. You know, there's no softness with your homies. You know, which is kind of sad, but you know, it's you know, that's patriarchy at work. You know.
Yeah, but kind of like going off of like festivals and stuff, I see a lot of people not being that way, and like a lot of people coming together. Is there like something, I mean, obviously touch, but what else would you say like festivals have helped you understand about humanness and connection and touch?
Yeah, it's interesting. I was at a festival that was over here in downtown LA one year. It was called Disclosure Fest. I don't know if they do it anymore, but you know, I was standing next to this person who was like saying, it's like, dude, I didn't know there were so many cool people in LA. You know, it's like everyone here is so cool. You know, and then I was just like, well, yeah, but as soon as we get into our cars, we're just assholes again, you know? So I think when I was talking to him, it made me realize, it's like, I think one of the main purposes of my life is to essentially like give people like little micro doses of festival life, you know, be it through acro, or be it through just like, you know, just, you know, saying hi to someone on the street and spinning them around, you know. That's a fun thing.
I mean, just giving people permission, right? Just like saying it's okay. Like it doesn't have to mean anything. It can just be.
Yeah, just like that moment. That's it.
Yeah.
It's fun, you know.
I love that.
Yeah, microdosing. It's great.
Okay, let's kind of shift over towards like Thai massage, because that's what you do also. There is like a bit of a stigma around massage, right? Just like especially when it involves like extended body work between two people. Like some people might think it's a little woo-woo, or even might think it's sexual or something. Like people think of like happy endings, right? How do you navigate that, and what do you want people to understand about what therapeutic Thai massage actually is?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I feel like there are a bunch of just Thai massage spots like down the street that are just like Thai massage spots.
Right.
Aren't really, you know.
Wink, wink.
But you know, Thai massage, it's like an amalgamation of all forms of body work. You know, so no two Thai massage places kind of do the same thing. You know, the modality that I work with is more floor based, so it's not on a table. It's not a lot of like, you know, little old women stepping on your back with a pole. You know, it's more of like a somatic practice. Lots of like stretching, moving, and yeah. Going back to your question of like, you know, what was the question again?
Well, it's like, you know, people have this taboo or feeling around it and generalize it. Maybe it's woo-woo or it's over-sexualized. Like, what would you say it actually is?
Yeah, I think with Thai massage, because it's less about like, you're not there to fix the body that's in front of you. You're not there to like kind of dig in, and like almost like with sports massage, you pinpoint an area and you basically kind of like really dig into the fascia, dig into the muscles. Thai massage is more of like a somatic practice. You know, it's movement, it's waves, it's rhythmic. You know, and that's maybe sometimes what also kind of like sexualizes it. But again, at the core of it, it's unconditional loving kindness, and from that intention, you know, is love, and you know, with you know, sex is love, you know, so I can see that there's that correlation sometimes, but love is also more than that, you know. And presence is really the key to a good Thai massage and communication.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can go that way if both parties wanted it to, you know.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, you're there to just be present with the body that's in front of you, and you know, you're not there to fix it. You're just there to pour out what needs to pour out and allow them the grace and presence to release what they need to release.
Yeah. I mean, and that's like super important to understand too. It's like just because it's sensual doesn't make it sexual.
Yeah.
It can lead to that, but that doesn't necessarily mean, you know. And that's and would you say that's the reason why people kind of associate it with that, is because it's a very sensual body work, somatic?
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, I never really like saw it like that. I think it's just recently with other avenues that I've experienced as of late that I've kind of like blended and merged the two. But for the most part, it's just kind of like, you know, a way for your body to feel good, and a way for the body in front of you to feel good. Well, what my favorite thing about Thai massage is it's the only massage modality that I know of that feels good as you give as well as receive, you know.
Really?
Because you're not depleting yourself trying to like work hard and fix, you know. You're just like, you know, doing a light little yoga practice for yourself as well, you know.
Wow.
It's like Thai massage is also kind of known as lazy person's yoga.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, you're doing a light little yoga practice, maybe getting some stretches in for yourself. You know, you're put into like body positions that, you know, feels good for you. And the more you feel good as a receiver or as a giver, the more your receiver kind of feels that change in your body, and then they can also kind of like relax. Yeah,
That's really nice. I know, like when my partner wants massages, sometimes I'm like, okay, gotta put work in.
Yeah.
But so with Thai massage, it's more like a give and take.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, give and give, take and take.
Give and give, take and take. Yeah, with either side that you're on.
Exactly.
Okay, so talk about this, like when you're doing therapeutic Thai massage at a festival. You know, you say that you're doing it on the ground, and so at a festival, there's like minimal clothing, and there's probably like sensuality in the air, or like there has to be some type of consent. Like how would you say that you go about that in festival culture?
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely consent is key. You know, I don't go up to someone randomly and just start tugging on their legs.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
because that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I normally just ask. You know, if I change positions or if I like start to like work higher up the body, I'll ask first. You know, it's always good to get verbal confirmation, especially
Did you hear that? Just ask.
Just
Just
ask.
ask.
Just ask.
Verbal confirmation.
Yeah, I mean it's super important. I mean, like you were saying, with the presence of substances and like different intentions of connections. It's always good to ask first and just really be clear with what exactly you're asking for.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
know that consent isn't always a blanket yes.
Exactly.
You always have to continue to ask.
Yeah.
Like even if you did something with someone earlier in the day, at night it might be different,
True.
So now let's transition into like the acro yoga of things.
No.
So you have a monthly class here at Kama.
Yeah, it's been growing.
And I've taken it. It's really fun.
Cool.
It's kind of challenging, but really cool. Okay, so like let's just give those who are watching and listening like a real definition. What is acro yoga, and what is it actually doing, and who are the people that are doing it? Like who is it for?
Okay, so acro yoga is a partner-based acrobatic kind of like exercise or acro-based practice, where the way we normally teach it is it's called L-basing. One person is laying on their back with their feet lifted up, and the other person, the flyer, is essentially on top of their feet, trying in different poses. Who is it for? It's for everyone who's willing to give it a shot.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to be flexible at all. I mean, it does help. You don't have to be like strong, because we talk about bone stacking, so you don't really use a lot of like the strength in your muscles if you're like stacked properly. I mean, there are some petite women who can base or lift up people who are like 200 pounds.
Last time I took your class, I think I based like a 200-pound man, and I was like, "What? I'm doing this." It was pretty great.
And what I really love about switching roles like that, because everyone loves a little switch.
Yeah.
Is you essentially, one, build empathy for the other role, and two, you just feel empowered when you felt it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm always flying, so I'm like, oh, it's fun. And then you do the bass, and you're like, oh, wow, this is a whole different thing. And you gain a new appreciation and understanding.
Yeah, I always feel like there's so many modalities of other movement practices that helps with flying. If you have a dance background, it helps. If you have a gymnastics background, it helps. If you have a yoga background, it helps. But with basing, it's just like that's the position. It's like it's kind of like there's nothing else that kind of feels like it.
Probably
however,
core strength.
Core strength, yeah. However, I did talk to someone who does jujitsu, and they were saying like, basing kind of feels like jujitsu, because you're essentially like finding the center of mass of your partner and seeing how you can like. Well, in jiu-jitsu, it's exploited, but with acro, it's like how to lift them up.
How to support,
Yeah, how to support it. Yeah, very interesting and cool. Yeah.
So I know you say that it's for everybody, and that anyone who's curious, but I'm sure there's some people who are thinking like, oh, I'm just not flexible enough. I'm not, or maybe there's like that stigma as like I'm too heavy or I'm too this or whatever. What is like the most common version of that story that you hear, and what would you say to like rebuttal that?
Yeah, I think one of the most common ones are guys who just want to base, who are just like, oh, I'm too heavy. But I feel like in everyone there's someone who wants to fly just a little bit,
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the main thing is just getting them to asking them if they want to try. Sometimes I normally say like, I ask them, and then if they say like, no, I'm too heavy, I'll normally say like, oh, I'll ask you two more times. I'll ask you two more times while we play, and they're like, oh, okay. And then by like the third time, I'm like, you sure you don't want to fly? And then they're like, okay, I'll fly.
Yeah.
And then once they try, it's just like, oh yeah, this is cool. It's like, and again, flying as a base is really, I feel like it's really important, because then you're not like just blaming the flyer, because you essentially feel like, oh, flying is also hard. Basing is hard, flying is also hard sometimes, so it's just like, one of the core principles in acro yoga is communication, and knowing, putting yourself in the other person's shoes is a good communication tool. That way you're not just like, oh, you're not doing it right, you're not doing it right. It's like, what can we do to help us, do this trick properly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also like, I'm going to put a little nerd fact in there. Something that's been studied to prolong life and do longevity is the amount of gray matter we have in our brains. And the way that you increase your gray matter is by doing things outside of your comfort zone. So if you are someone who is a base and hasn't flown, you're actually helping your brain by doing flying and vice versa, which is pretty cool. So it's like, and on top of that, we have it here monthly at Kama so that you can do it on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
And so what would you say, like on that in a way, what have been like the noticeable changes that you've seen in people who've like gone from beginner to doing it for a couple of months? Like it could just be what you've seen other people, or even your own personal experience of how you felt when you first started acro yoga to where you are today.
Well, let's start first with myself. I'm super grateful for acro. I feel like it's opened up like a lot of doors for me. It's like it's given me like the ability to just like, give people or gift people just this random thing, which is
That you could
which
do
is so fun.
anywhere,
Which you can
essentially.
do anywhere. It's like it's a really great party trick, But also, I mean, for folks who are just kind of like starting out, I noticed that one, they're just a little less apprehensive about trying things. It's like there's a certain at some of the other places that I teach. I teach at some climbing gyms as well. The people who are kind of drawn to that class are the people who are just like, oh yeah, I'm body aware, I like to be upside down, and then they just kind of throw themselves at it. But there are also those people who are a little tentative, like folks in when I teach at like a yoga studio, people are a little bit more tentative, a little harder to trust. They're more like embodied in their own body, but have a hard time relinquishing that trust with others. So kind of like the two things that it does is, one, it helps you trust people a little bit more, since you're kind of like the only way to like fly properly or to succeed at a trick is to kind of like give up a little bit of control, and in order to stay up, you have to like not put your feet down right away. You have to trust your spotters. So in acro yoga, we use to keep everyone safe, we play in groups of 3. Third person's the spotter, which is, I think, arguably the most important role in a class setting. Because you're keeping everyone safe and making sure no one dies, no one falls. Not that I've lost anyone in acro, I swear I haven't. But people trust more. People learn how to communicate a little bit better. I've known like couples who have like gone to class who, use acro to essentially deepen their connection, because it teaches them how to communicate better and not like just blame the other person,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that acro yoga helps with communication. It helps with trust. It helps with our lack of touch. It helps with neuroplasticity, all of these things. And you offer it Kama on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. monthly, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything else that I might not have touched on that you wish that we could have spoken about a little bit more?
The fact that, if you go upside down every once in a while, it not only literally flips your perspective, but it's also good for the spine, good for the brain,
Yeah.
So add that to the list of
And you get
things.
to flip your perspective.
And you get
Quite literally.
flip your perspective.
Okay.
Literally. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you taking the time. And where could people find you if they want to reach out, if they want to do Thai massage?
Yeah. Probably easiest way is my Instagram account. It's Robin Does Things. Many things. And yeah, I have like a link there for massages or acro privates if you want.
Which
Also.
I highly recommend. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.